There we go. Great job, Dave.
So good.
We loved it. I know it's not the goal to make Peter and Sarah love it, but oh my goodness.
You did it.
You did it. Yeah, you kind of hit it anyway.
It was really, really good.
So grateful for you. We love you. We love your friendship. We love that you are family to us.
And we used to buy you those chicken nuggets.
It's true. That's right. We did. Remember way back when we said you could drop in, and you did often.
I had those chicken nuggets for you. Wouldn't feed them to my kids.
It's true. Right.
They were for Dave.
They were for Dave. So, okay, you or me?
You can go.
I tweeted 3 things that stood out to me the most, and I wrote them down also. You and I have been invited into a conversation that we did not initiate and we do not control. I thought that was a really great reminder that God's the one who started not just the idea of conversation, but started the conversation with us and with his people way back in the garden, long before, pre-fall, before the fall.
Yeah. That was my point. Yeah, that's what I had.
Oh, sorry.
Down. No. I was just going to say that probably a little bit gave me goosebumps, realizing that God started the conversation and revealing his plan in the garden. That was a really, really helpful way to understand it.
And so Dave is really good at, and I've always admired him for the way that he talks about the why behind anything and the motivation. Like, what's the why are we doing this? Because people don't forget how. Well, that's not true. People do forget how. People do struggle for how. But I think oftentimes when you talk to people about prayer, and particularly in my own life, I haven't forgotten how. I've forgotten why. When it's like people struggle in Bible reading, it's not that they've forgotten how. How does it work? Do I open it from the back? People haven't forgotten how. It's the why that drives people to want to read God's word and to communicate.
Or the why that we had isn't going to sufficiently move us to do this.
Yeah, it's lost its luster, or I'm sorry, what you said. We basically had the wrong why to begin with. So, like, of course, the second line. Of course, prayer feels like it doesn't work. We've been doing it backwards. Exactly. That was a huge aha moment. I just thought that's so well said. When we feel like we're inviting God into our conversation that we're controlling, and then things don't happen the way we asked or the way we had planned, then yeah, of course it feels like it doesn't work. We're doing it backwards. When in reality, I'm being invited into a conversation that he initiated, and I'm being invited into I'm part of a story of redemption that began long before me and will go on long after me. And I am part of that conversation. And which leads me to the next point. God typically changes his people more often than he changes our circumstances. Oh, so true.
So true.
So true. And God is changing me to fit his grand design, to make me more like him, more than he's interested in changing my circumstances to fit my plan. That's not to say he doesn't sometimes do that. We converse with God, we ask God, we say please. Many times he says yes, many times he says no. But ultimately, he is always changing me through circumstances as opposed to changing my circumstances. Peter LaRuffa out. I'm done.
Oh.
Yeah, I was preaching, so I'm done.
Okay, good.
What about you?
You covered everything. So I nodded and I was there for it.
The joy of being married to a pastor.
But it was good. I'm looking through like the little things that I was like jotting down. And I loved the quote at the end.
I like that.
God decided to reveal his plan through a conversation. But we kind of covered that already. I loved the quote at the end and how it finished with, "My heart is at rest. I was satisfied with God."
Was that George Mueller?
That was George Mueller. I think I'm going to write that and really think about that. What does it look like for my heart to be at rest? I don't know. It was good. So good.
When your heart's at rest, yeah. What does it look like for you if your heart is at rest? Does that mean you're thinking about things less? Does that mean you're thinking about them just as much, but trusting in God through them?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I don't know. I didn't plan to talk about it. He just preached. Just listened to it.
It's true.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay.
That's worth thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then unrelated to Dave, I also, as I was tweeting something, I saw a Tim Keller quote. In the end, God will use evil to do the opposite of what it intended. And that's true. If you think about the end of all things, death dies.
Mm-hmm.
So the evil of death is swallowed up by itself. God will oftentimes, as he's changing us and as he's using us throughout his plan, he'll ultimately win. Even when we think that things are not, that he's not winning, or the church isn't winning, or the gospel has stopped going out, or we're not being able to do things the way that we want to do them insofar as Christian ministry and life and parenting and family and friendship and all that other stuff is concerned. In the end, God ultimately turns evil on its head, and to join in, to keep that in mind, to keep a big picture, as I pray, is really, really helpful. To remember that I'm just joining in, like Dave said, I'm just joining into this grand plan that God is ultimately working for his glory and my good, and I get to talk to him about it as we go.
It's truly believing when Christ said, I have overcome the world.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of believing that when it's going the way that you think it should go.
Right.
Or
he'll eventually overcome the world, but he hasn't yet.
Or he hasn't yet. Or
right.
when his people are finally, I guess, physically at rest, and we're peaceful, and we have this kingdom that we've always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
When this kingdom isn't
of this world.
Of this world.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks again, Dave. We love you. We were praying for you. We couldn't wait to watch it. We were so excited as we did watch it, and we are two of your biggest fans. Hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you soon.